This is the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief, keeping you informed about the happenings in Annapolis and the area. Local news, local sports, local events, local opinion, and of course, local weather. The Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief starts now.
Good morning. It's Monday, August 19th, 2019. This is John Frenaye, and this is your Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief. Attorneys for the city of Annapolis are asking a federal judge to dismiss the federal lawsuit that was filed against them regarding HACA, or the Housing Authority for the City of Annapolis. The Capital Gazette had a big article on that yesterday, and I do encourage everybody to go read that. But essentially, they're saying that the conditions of public housing aren't exclusive to African Americans and therefore cannot be any racial discrimination. As I read through the Capital article, there were a couple things that stood out to me. The attorneys representing the cities, and it must be pointed out that these are attorneys that the city has hired to represent them as opposed to our own city attorney and their staff. But they're saying that the lawsuit does not show that the black public housing tenants are treated any differently than other public housing tenants. About 95% of the public housing residents are African American, and they are claiming that the Caucasian residents of the Housing Authority properties are being treated exactly the same. Therefore, there is no racism. The Capital article also mentions that Annapolis doesn't inspect HACA properties. It does require every landlord in the city to do that inspection process in order to obtain a license to rent their properties. Now, the city pretty much has ignored this for decades, and former Mayor Panelides, in an effort to actually improve the property conditions, started the inspections with HACA, yet they stopped shortly after Mayor Gavin Buckley took office. The attorneys also argued that the Maryland Housing and Community Development article authorizes local governments to, quote, make exceptions to its sanitary building, housing, fire, health, subdivision, or other similar laws, rules, regulations for housing authority properties. That may be so, but the question I have is, if there is an exception, is it in writing? Has there been a resolution passed by the city council? One of the key items in the lawsuit against the city was the mold and the conditions of the properties. And as for the mold, the attorney for the city wrote that it may be unsightly and undesirable, but the tenants have shown no legal right to be free of it. It is undisputed science that mold and humidity are ubiquitous in the ambient air. Tenants' demand that HACA exclude the natural environment out of plaintiffs' homes is unreasonable and not supportable. All I can say on that is wow. And I'm glad there hasn't been a hurricane or a flood or something else that would actually destroy the homes outright. What would they say? Oh, it's not our problem? Mayor Buckley may have lost the election on that comment, and certainly if it's not the election, my guess would be that he lost all support out of any HACA votes. Meanwhile, in other HACA news, the Annapolis Police Department was dispatched to the 1100 block of Madison Street in the Harbor House community last Tuesday. Now, this was a little bit of a delayed report, but it was at 11:30 a.m. for a report of a gun, which was left out in the open. When they arrived, they found and recovered a long gun, which would be a rifle or a shotgun, that had been left in the open. The gun was wrapped in fabric with a box of ammunition. Kind of disconcerting that stuff is left out in the open. On Saturday, a 20-year-old man was flown to the R. Adams Cali Shock Trauma Center in Baltimore after being stabbed multiple times in HACA's Robinwood community. The Annapolis Police Department responded to the 1300 block of Tyler Avenue for the reported stabbing, and they do believe it occurred in the 1400 block of Tyler Avenue. The victim was stabbed in multiple locations on his body. His injuries are not believed to be life-threatening. Police are investigating, and if anybody has any information, 410-260-3439 is the number. Hey, Maryland's getting serious now. We've told you time and time again about the 2020 deadline to have your licenses comply with the federal Real ID law. Now, Maryland has issued a recall of 8,000 licenses. For those people, anyone being pulled over for any reason can have their licenses confiscated. The 8,000 drivers were among the first batch notified of the state's need to get the additional documents. In all, 780,000 drivers were identified lacking the proper documentation, and the first group was notified starting in November with a July deadline. The second group of drivers who need to come forth have until November to comply, and if they don't, their licenses will be recalled. According to Christy Nizer, who is the director for the MVA, she said that of that group, only 20% so far have responded. Again, the deadline is October 1st, 2020, which will be here before you know it. You can go to the Maryland MVA website. They have an ID lookup tool. Put your driver's license or your state ID into it. See if you are affected. And this is some great news for our local schools. And thanks again to K&B True Value here in Annapolis. They are offering an opportunity for schools in the area to earn some big bucks. For every donation that a customer makes, K&B will match it dollar for dollar, 100%, up to $5,000. So the next time you need propane, paint, gardening supplies, maybe even those great caramels by the checkout line, light bulbs, pretty much anything for your home, head on over to K&B True Value, make a donation to a local school, and have your donation matched dollar for dollar. Thank you very much to everybody up at K&B True Value. All right, that is about it for the top news today. Please make sure you're checking out eyeonannapolis.net throughout the day because we do update it throughout the day. Click that first link in the show notes and you'll find all the different ways that you can connect with us. Please give us a rating or a review if you're someplace where you can do that, and give us a recommendation to your friends and family as well. Hang tight, we've got George Young with your local DMV weather forecast coming up in just 1 minute.
September 28th, the second annual Twistin Stout Festival at Quiet Waters Park along the shores of the South River. Twistin Stout, a Maryland wine, craft beer, food, and arts festival presented by the Anne Arundel County Department of Recreation and Parks along with the Maryland Wineries Association. Sample dozens of craft beers and Maryland wines. There's music all day starring the Groove Spot Band, along with the Naptown Brass Band and Vertigo Red. Watch the Plein Air Painters and shop dozens of artisans, crafters, and food trucks. Tickets are on sale now at twistinstout.org. That's TWISTANDSTOUT.org. September 28th, Twistin Stout at Quiet Waters Park, noon till 6. Tickets at twistinstout.org. Going out? You need the most up-to-date local weather. Here's George Young from DMV Weather in Annapolis with today's forecast.
Hey everyone, this is George with DMV Weather, and this is your Eye on Annapolis forecast for Monday, August 19th. It was another hot and humid weekend for the Annapolis region, and it will stay that way today through Thursday before much-needed relief comes Friday through the weekend. Look for highs in the 90s today through Thursday, with a chance of PM showers and storms each day. Then high pressure coming out of Canada will deliver a new, much-improved air mass to the area with lower humidity and below-average highs in the 80 to 85-degree range Friday and Saturday, maybe into Sunday. So tough it out for the next 4 days, but start to make plans now for what should be one of the best weekends of the summer, especially following this latest heat wave. Okay, that's it for today. This is George Young of DMV Weather. Make it a great day out there and be sure to get our free app on all of your devices by searching for DCMD VA Weather in the Apple or Google App Stores, and also follow us on Facebook and Twitter and on our website at dmvweather.com so you can always stay weather informed.
Suicide prevention starts with everyday heroes like you. Join us Saturday, September 21st at the Navy Marine Corps Stadium in Annapolis as we walk to fight suicide. Be a part of the movement turning hope into action. Funds raised will benefit the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Register today at afsp.org/Annapolis. Together, we can help stop suicide. Go to afsp.org/Annapolis.
You've been listening to the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief. Tell your friends and colleagues this is the podcast where you can keep up on the latest with what's going on in Annapolis. And also tell them about our website, eyeonannapolis.net, where you can find even more information. This podcast comes to you every Monday through Friday at 7 a.m., keeping you informed with the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief. And take a moment to listen to our other podcast, The Maryland Crabs, released every Thursday at noon.